where brave men and women gave voice to the voiceless. But then the corporations bought the journalist, poisoning the news that we are fed. With those tainted sources, all we ever ate was a steady diet of status quo. This hijacked narrative hid the truth of mass suffering, injustice and corruption throughout our land. Status quo, status quo, status quo, status quo. To expose this shift to oligarchy came a band of honest journalists. They left the studio and hit the streets to give the microphone back to the people. From sea to sea, the people were empowered to share their truth. Their voices no longer stifled, reclaimed their power. Join the media revolution now.
I'm going.
You sure your mic is on?
Hey there, Jordan Sheridan, live on a Friday. What are we, November 8th? I am out of center. I think the camera moved. La da da ba ba.
Tell me when. Look at that. Look at that. Look at the screen.
Now it's now go a little bit more. A little bit more that way. There you go. I'm still out of center, but
okay,
whatever.
hold on. This way?
Hold on. Yeah, we're fine.
Right there?
Yeah.
Perfect?
Good. Yep. I want to thank
That's
Tommy
Joseph. That's
Taihifi
Joseph.
Bayless. I want to thank Tommy Taihifi Bayless, who's still living in my apartment, for correcting
Don't say
the
that.
camera.
Don't say that, man.
Say hello.
What's happening? I had to get at Jordan earlier because Jordan is hella disrespectful. How do I see the camera so the camera can see me? Jordan
Your head is big.
disrespectful.
Your head is big enough to be seen.
And what was it, about 3 weeks ago? He was live and I was watching and he was having this echo. And I said, damn, he's having an echo. He was having a hard time, and you can tell that he was having a hard time. He was squeezing his ass. You know how when you get frustrated and you don't know what to do, you just start squeezing your ass? And so I called him. I said, I know what's wrong with him. Obviously, he did something wrong with the camera. So I called him. I said, let's walk through this. We walked through it. We fixed it. He got back online. This was during the Sunday marathon. And then he thanked everybody on earth except Ty. And what he said is, we're still using Ty's camera as if it was a camera that was messed up, not the settings that he put. And he didn't even say, thank you, Ty, for taking time out of your day to call me and fix this thing that I couldn't do myself because I wouldn't have been able to go live and have my 5-hour marathon. So
You want to go back?
I sat on that for a while.
You want to go back to enjoying your free rent now?
I don't even know what he's talking about. I ain't sure enough free rent.
Thank you.
So anyway, we starting something. I'm going to be here Sunday. We're going to be talking about what's going on with the color section.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. So that's Tommy Taihifi Bayless, who's still living with me. And what he's talking about, just so you're aware, is, I don't know, like 3 Sundays ago, I was live, and there was a audio problem, and there was echo for like probably a good 15, 20 minutes. We had to shut down and then get back on. And to be honest with you, when you have 750 live people watching and you're a little flustered, you might not think right away to thank Tommy for fixing the audio. But I do thank Tommy for fixing the audio as well as the camera today because he needs a lot of validation. So we're here to give him that validation.
Thank you.
So, but all seriousness, Ty has, I think, is your YouTube channel up?
Not yet. It's going to be up this week, though.
So he's got a new YouTube channel. I think it's a fairly offensive name, but it probably works for him.
Why is it
So he'll come on for a little bit Sunday to plug his new YouTube channel. Still a member of Status Quo family.
Hi, Jen. I love you.
All
I'll
right.
see you this weekend.
Get out of my shot. So, 129 people watching. Thanks, Joseph, for sticking in the last few days. I have been working with Jen on... Man, I've been working with Jen on a very, very, very big story. And to tell you the truth, in most of my career, I'm a very quick writer, I tend to be. But this story is not something that could be done quickly. honestly, it requires all of my attention, and Jen is spending a lot of time working with me on this story. The story, I just can't get into what it is for a lot of reasons. Also, I can't get into it because I'll tell you a little bit more later, but we are working on the story for another outlet, which I think, I don't want to jinx it, but it looks good right now that the story will go out with this other outlet in a few weeks. The story is very, very big. Like, honestly, as I write it, the gravity of what we've uncovered gets bigger and bigger. So that's why Joseph has been going live. I'm going to try to go live as much as I can, but to be honest with you, when you're in a flow, you can't get out of that flow to like prepare for a live stream and then do a live stream. So bear with me and Jen. But the good news is with the story, Jen is actually coming up this weekend to New York to work on it with me. She's been helping me remotely, but she's coming up to work with me on it this weekend. So Jen will be making a cameo on Sunday as well. So Sunday's live stream will be fun for everyone. So you'll be seeing Jen on the live stream on Sunday along with Ty, apparently. So it is good to be back, and man, I'm off air for a few days and the billionaires just come rolling in. The billionaires are rolling in, and shall we say, the billionaires are striking back. They don't like that there is a progressive uprising in the country. They think it is untoward to want to tax them. They think it is untoward to have regulations. They think a Green New Deal is untoward. All of these things are just a little too extreme. For the United Corporations of America, so they feel they need to come in very gallantly and save the day. So, before I get into it, let me remind you folks, every one of you, it's a Friday, we're being screwed on YouTube anyway. I need every one of you, press the like button right under the video. The more people that press that like button, the more people that will see this very live stream. So we have almost 200 people watching right now. We got 117 of you that have pressed that like button. So please press the like button. It's that thumbs up button right under the video. Every like counts. That's how YouTube's algorithm works. More people that press the thumbs up button, the more people then that the feed will show up in their streams more often. Definitely consider becoming a member. We're at 723 Status Coup members. I could tell you, based on the story Jen and I are working on, we might have to take another trip to the place where this story is located. We've already taken one together, and now we might have to take another. So membership is definitely helping, and membership is how we fund this reporting. Of course, we got the GoFundMe going, but in the long term, we need to grow our membership. We kind of keep going up, but then we get a couple declines and move backwards and up. And so hopefully, if you've been on the fence, you got $5 to $10 a month. statuscoup.com/join. Follow us at Status Coup on the Twitter. I'm at Jordan Chariton. Subscribe to our podcast. That's Status Coup Podcast. And go to statuscoup.com. Join our email list. That is a major way. You know, for example, YouTube is suppressing us, so Jen is now more often, including today, sending out an email when we're live. We don't want to send out emails every single day because then you get a little, like, fatigue from Status Coup. But we have no choice at this point because YouTube is not really alerting people that we're live. You don't see our videos in your stream. So join our email list. And we are live on Twitch. I wish I was prepared. Let me see what the address is. Status Coup Twitch. Status Coup Twitch. Jen, could you put the Twitch URL in the super chat? Because I'm unprepared and I don't know what it is. I think it's twitch.com/statuscoup or something like that. So we are trying to expand because I'll tell you what, YouTube's making it very difficult to succeed if you're an independent journalist. So we want to start growing our audience on Twitch. We're also doing more on Instagram. So follow Status Quo on Instagram. We're trying to be spread our tentacles everywhere we can. Thank you, JJ Barrios, $2 in the super chat. Send Colin better pics of you for thumbnails, etc. What's wrong with the pic? What's wrong with the pic Colin did today? I thought it was a very good pic. So, I'll leave it at that. And Colin, we put up a new members video just for members of Colin going through the ridiculous requests he gets from me every single day. I send him a request for a graphic, usually like 20 minutes before because I procrastinate. And yesterday I asked him for Mike Bloomberg, Jeff Bezos, and Tom Steyer with the title Billionaires Strike Back in a Money Pit. So that was one of the more tame ones, I guess you could say. That was one of the more tame ones. And I've asked Colin, which is maybe offensive to him, but he embraces it. I actually want Colin to be the star of our Twitch channel because Twitch is very big among the gamers. So Colin is a gamer, and he is a self-acknowledged nerd. So Colin is going to bring the coup to the Twitch community, because apparently, I didn't know this, there is an intersection between gaming and politics, gaming and social justice. So Colin, go like our Twitch. Go like our Twitch. Follow our Twitch. I don't know what it is, if you follow, if you like, whatever. But Colin is going to be the star of our Twitch pretty soon. So we're spreading the coup here as we can. And
Colin's a genius.
Now, before I get to the stories, because we got a lot, I want to be totally transparent with you and let you know this is a startup, so sometimes some things change. We've been promoting that we're going to Keystone next week. That has changed, and we are not. So I'll let you have a moment to mourn that. Unfortunately, when we booked the flights and everything like that, Jen and I did not yet have the momentum we have on this other story. I don't want to. I just can't get into details about the other story. But long story short, we did not have a green light for the other story when we booked those tickets. Now we do, and when the story gets published, I think you're going to understand what I meant. It is a massive story. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of information, and we're not actually done with the reporting for the story. So that's why she's coming up this weekend. We're working on it together. So we're postponing that trip. I'm definitely going to cover the developments with Keystone, but we're just not going there next week. I just wanted to be transparent with you because we've been promoting it. It's not that we don't care, but it's very difficult when you're laser focused on a major investigative piece to then go for a week somewhere else, because I can't do both. If I'm in the field on Keystone, that's my only focus. So I hope you guys understand. We will keep covering Keystone, and even though Jen's coming up to work with me on this story next week, even though I'm not going to Keystone, Joseph and I are actually going to be going up to New Hampshire on Wednesday, I believe it is. We're going to do a little coverage of Elizabeth Warren. We're going to go cover Senator Elizabeth Warren because I think her supporters need to be asked some questions. I'm not going to hammer them over the head, I promise. I'm going to be fair, but I do think we need to start covering Elizabeth Warren as best we can. And now that we have the live view, thanks to you and your GoFundMe donations, Joseph and I are heading up to New Hampshire, and we're going to cover some of her events. Thank you. Osama Kassem, $5 in the super chat. Thank you for being one of the few principled progressives on YouTube who spoke out for Max Blumenthal. Yes, and I extended him an invitation if he wants to do an interview, so that's still out there. Alexander Bly is $5. My gamer tag on PS4 is vote_Bernie_1994. Love it. And could you tell me in the super chat what PlayStation are we at? Because I used to have a PlayStation. I haven't played in a while, but if me and my girlfriend are going to move in together, I'm going to need a gaming system, for when we want to break. What? So, okay, just a joke. So,
oh, she knows when you're joking now?
On to the stories. This is a spy. I got to tell you something. There's so much to get to. We got Michael Bloomberg and his ridiculous presidential campaign. He's going to jump in, that gas bag. You have Tom Steyer another billionaire who bought his way onto the debate stage. Now it comes out that his campaign has been offering local Iowa officials money. We'll give you money for your campaigns in Iowa. You endorse Tom Steyer. Remember when he said on stage, I'm the best candidate to, quote, reclaim democracy? I think that's what he had in mind. He's going to pay off Iowa politicians, and they're not even good at the corruption. They can't even hide it that well. So we're going to talk about Mr. Steyer. We're going to talk about Mr. Bloomberg. We got the return of Hillary Clinton. We got a little Trump. We got a lot to do today. A lot to do. However, I must start with Jeff Bezos, the richest man in the world. Joseph did a video the other day. At the time, Seattle, their elections and Washington State's elections are a little different because it's vote by mail. So you don't get the results like that night. You get it over a series of days. So on the evening of election night, Tuesday of this week, not covered nationally, but one of the biggest champions of workers in America, huge, big, progressive fighter, Shama Sawant, which Ty had come with me when we were in Seattle. We covered it a couple months ago. The rampant homelessness in Seattle, in large part brought to you by Jeff Bezos and Amazon, because rent has gone up in Seattle 70% in 5 years. So Amazon and Jeff Bezos, they run Seattle, they run Washington State, and basically they're running the country at this point. There's no regulation. Frankly, if I'm keeping it real, the one thing that I think Elizabeth Warren, if you want to give her the benefit of the doubt, the one plan that I do think is sharp from her is breaking up Amazon and breaking up Facebook. I think that's a good plan. I'd like Bernie to talk about break them up too. Because Amazon, other than NAFTA, other than the TPP, other than these trade deals, Amazon has done more to put small business out of business in America than anyone else in this country. We have Walmart too. We have antitrust laws. We have monopoly laws that are not being enforced. And Amazon is the preeminent monopoly. So Amazon has very little resistance in the federal government. Very few politicians go after them. Very few politicians go after them on the state level. But there is one fighter on the Seattle level, a socialist named Shama Sawant. And Shama Sawant was successful in Seattle. And if you live in Seattle, you know what I'm talking about. Originally, the city council in Seattle was going to propose or pass something called a head tax, where Amazon workers and companies like Microsoft, Boeing, large multi-billion-dollar corporate conglomerates, were going to have to pay $250 per employee to go towards affordable housing and go towards improving the homelessness issue. That in large part that has resulted from Amazon. You know, when Amazon comes in, yes, the average salary of Amazon is six figures, but as a result, the city's prices go sky high. It's gentrification. So in some ways, Amazon can be looked at as a good thing, technology, convenience, but a lot of these tech companies, not just Amazon, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all these, they have brought in this Silicon Valley bubble that is making the people native to Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles, San Jose, many other places on the West Coast and around the country, not be able to live where they grew up because they can't afford it anymore. When Ty and I went, literally, it's not like New York City where you see homeless people kind of spread out into like corners. You have luxury new gentrified condos, and right next to it are tent cities of homeless people. So Shama Sawant has been fighting Jeff Bezos and Amazon for many years as a wildly successful and popular city councilwoman in Seattle. That's not good for business. And Jeff Bezos don't like that progressive resistance. So Jeff Bezos and Amazon dumped $1.5 million into a city council election. $1.5 million is chump change when you're talking about presidential run, Senate campaign. for a city council race, $1.5 million is an obscene amount of money. Just to give you the background here. The company is supporting the business-friendly candidate who is running against Sawant in this week's election and who was holding a narrow lead as ballot counting continued Thursday afternoon. Voting ended Thursday, but counting all the mail-in ballots could take another few days. With about half of expected ballots counted, Egon Orion, a small business advocate and LGBTQ community leader, had 51%. Sawant had 49%. Having clawed back 3 percentage points since the initial count on Tuesday. In 2013, Sawant overcame a 7-point initial margin to win her first 2-year term. So basically, on election night, it was looking very good for Jeff Bezos and very bad for Shama Sawant. I think on election night, she was down 6 to 7 points, and it looked like we were going to lose one of the most progressive warriors in the country. She doesn't have the national name recognition among progressives that, like, obviously a Bernie or like a Nina Turner does, but, you know, hardcore progressives know who Shama Sawant is. She is a huge fighter for rent control in Seattle. Everything from Fight for 15, Medicare for All, Green New Deal, the long list of progressive priorities, she's on it. So Jeff Bezos was looking like, oh, Jeff Bezos and Amazon successfully knocked out the thorn in their side, Shama Sawant. Well, it looks like she's coming back. We don't know what the final results are going to be because, like I said, it's mail-in ballot. It's mail-in ballot in Seattle, but she was behind by 8 points on election night. Now, looks like she's down by 2. With more ballots to count. So even with $1.5 million pumped in against her, I don't live in Seattle, so I could only imagine what the television ads look like against her. It looks like Shama Sawant is going to have a chance at keeping her city council seat, even with an obscene amount of money from Jeff Bezos and Amazon. So I'm not going to declare victory because it's not over, but she was down 8 points. Now she's down 2 points. So it looks like the ballots left to be counted overwhelmingly are favoring her, and there's a chance that she will keep her seat, which would be a major victory and a major defeat of Amazon and Jeff Bezos, because there are very few thorns in Jeff Bezos and Amazon's side, and she is fighting them, and that's why they're trying to get rid of her. So I'm not going to play the whole thing, but for those of you that don't know who I'm talking about, here's just a tiny little bit of one parts of the interview we did with Shama Sawant in Seattle a couple months ago.
Like many, some good people watch Fox News, and at this point, I mean, CNN, MSNBC is not exactly accuracy either. But I always explain to him, like, Dad, we already live in a socialist country. Like, who do you think pays for the Trump's tax cuts? They're cutting heating for old people. They're cutting a lot of things for low-income people. And I think more people, like Bernie, I remember there was a lot of Republicans at Trump rallies that liked Bernie. Mm-hmm. So how do we really understand and explain to people that are just starting to get woke up, particularly there's a lot of Republicans that are more progressive, they just don't know it, when we say, no, there is a class war, there is redistribution, it's just coming from you, the working man or woman, to the corporations and the powerful.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, just to give a concrete example of what you're talking about, the Trump tax cuts that were passed in November 2017, they meant that the most profitable corporations got further tax cuts beyond the already cozy tax deals that they have had in the past. So Amazon, which doubled its profits from $5.6 billion to over $11 billion, and we're talking about profits, not revenues, which doubled its profits between 2017 and 2018, paid not a cent of taxes. And you should tell your dad, he paid more taxes than Amazon has ever paid in its entire existence. And not only did the corporation not pay any taxes, they got a tax rebate of $129 million because of the Trump tax cuts, putting so much towards tax cuts for the wealthy and big business. And so, if your dad has never gotten anything like that, a tax rebate of anything like that, then he should join the socialist movement to change society, because he's not the one he's not one of the people benefiting from the way capitalism functions. And I think you hit upon a very important point, which is that there are a lot of people who identify as rank and file Republican Party supporters who are actually very unhappy about the way this country has functioned in many years, and have the same kind of anger against corporate politicians that you and I do, even though we are on the left. And so it's really actually it's a reminder for those of us who are trying to build movements, social movements. It's a reminder for us that we cannot set up artificial boundaries against ordinary people who may join our movement if we made a good case to them. And that's why it's critical that we make a distinction between ordinary people who identify as Republican and the power brokers at the top, which is the Republican politicians and big business themselves, who may either support the Democratic establishment or the Republican establishment. And a concrete example again is what you were mentioning, where, for example, West Virginia, every county went in majority numbers to Trump in the general election in 2016. But what was happening in the Democratic primaries? Those same people were supporting Bernie in big numbers. And as a matter of fact, after the election, Bernie held something called Bernie Sanders and Trump country kind of forum, public forum, which was televised. And what did you see? You saw working class, low income, poor people, white people who were completely won over on the ideas of how this society is not functioning to our benefit, how we have suffered for generations.
No wonder Jeff Bezos wants to get rid of her. It is obscene that Amazon is able to dump in $1.5 million to take out one politician who has the courage and conviction to take them on. Shama Sawant, I hope she wins. Like I said, right now it looks like she's down 2 points. But this is why, on the national level, Bernie Sanders and what he stands for is so important. Because it's not just on a federal and state level that big business has taken over. It's on the local level, where Amazon is essentially like an occupying force that has seized cities, making it unaffordable and unlivable for working class people. So I'll keep you up to date on Shama Sawant and whether she wins, whether she loses, but pretty remarkable, if you ask me, that literally 1.5 billion into a city council election. It's ridiculous. Thank you. We got a super chat from Bill Gates. Cyber Clue. $5. Bill Gates said he wouldn't vote for Warren over Trump, and Joe Manchin said he wouldn't vote for Bernie over Trump. Russian puppets. Right. Because there's really Democrats, Republicans. They're all the same. They care most not about who's Democrat or who's Republican, who's going to allow them to preserve the status quo. Who's going to allow them to preserve their wealth. So Joe Manchin, he'd rather Trump and his racism, bigotry, and idiocy and corruption over somebody who's going to stop the money train from coming. Same thing with Bill Gates, who, is lauded by CNBC and all these places for, all the money he gives to charity. Well, take a look. Bill Gates is saying he would vote for Trump. I'm not a fan of Warren. I'm a Bernie guy. But I do think Elizabeth Warren is better than Trump. Some of you might not agree with that. I don't understand that viewpoint. I don't think she's as bad as Donald Trump. Also want to thank you, Lawrence Johnson. We just got another $10 from you in the GoFundMe. I will tell you, like I said, we're not going to Keystone, so just want to be transparent. We really, really appreciate the GoFundMe donations. We're still definitely trying to build our GoFundMe. We are $3,600 something away from meeting our goal. We're definitely going to be in the field. Joseph and I are going up to New Hampshire on Wednesday to cover a couple of Warren events. Hopefully I'll get a chance to interview or ask some questions to Senator Warren and her supporters. We're just not going to Keystone next week for the reasons I listed earlier in the show. But we're definitely still trying to build and grow the GoFundMe and finish it, because we do have plans to go back out into the field next week. And for the story that Jen and I are working on together, that is the reason I've been off air for a few days, this investigative piece. We're probably going to have to go back in the field for one or two more interviews. We kind of are like 90% there as far as the reporting for this story, but there's that final 10% that's like key to breaking this story. So all I got to say, folks, is if you trust my judgment, if you trust Jen's judgment, if you trust that we are using your money correctly, if you trust that the story that we're working on, that I am not going live for many days to focus on this story, that Jen is working on with me, that we're not going to Keystone for, if you trust that we wouldn't be sacrificing all these things unless we had a major game-changing story that could make a huge difference in people's lives, pitch in $5 to $10 if you can. We really, really appreciate it in the GoFundMe. So, moving on. And yes, YouTube is majorly, Jen put it in there, YouTube is majorly cutting our revenue. YouTube, I don't want to go on too long because there's other stories I want to get to, but YouTube is severely screwing us. There's no better way for me to describe it. So they're doing it in a way that's cutting into our revenue. That is why our main business model is not YouTube. Our main business model is this. It's always been membership. Frankly, I just keep it real. We've been kind of stagnant as far as membership for a couple weeks. Part of that is because we haven't been in the field as much, because Jen and I have been working on this story. But if you've been on the fence, we ask you to become a member today. You can become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month, or $179 annually if you don't want to go month by month. It is how we grow, and it is how we avoid and get around the suppression by YouTube, because it is becoming harder and harder to succeed as a company and grow because of YouTube. I'm just keeping it real. It's becoming a lot more difficult to succeed because of YouTube, and we're hoping that the suppression lifts a little bit, because right now, I mean, I'm just being real, Jen and I we're going to have to cut costs somewhere because our revenue is going down on YouTube, because our views are going down on YouTube. Our subscriber growth has flatlined on YouTube because YouTube, when I say suppress, just imagine for a second an empty cave. That's where our videos are going, thanks to YouTube. Most people, it doesn't show up in their feeds. If you're a non-subscriber, it doesn't show up in your feed. And if you are a subscriber, maybe once in a blue moon, you don't see our videos consistently, and it's hit or miss if you get a notification when we're live. It's very hard to succeed if, like, the distribution mechanism to get your content to people doesn't work, or intentionally doesn't work. So that's why we're trying Twitch. That's why we're trying to grow our Instagram. That's why we're trying to grow in other places. So hopefully you guys can sign up today and become a member. So thank you, Darth Corey, $1.49. Thank you, Princess Queen, $2. Problem isn't Warren, it's the DNC corruption. I agree. Did I miss anything else? Oh, you know what? I do want to address something. Thank you, Poopy Cakes, just donated. Do want to address something. So, I'm not really big on, like, I've learned, like, I'm not interested in inter-YouTube dramatic fights with people. Sometimes, like, YouTube personalities get into it. Like, Jen and I have bigger fish to fry, so I'm not interested in getting into a fight with another YouTube host. It was brought to my attention that somebody, well, we could use his name, Nico House, went on a long tirade about me this afternoon. To be honest with you, I didn't watch it. I'm not going to. I have a history with him. I'm not going to give him the attention that he desires, because that's why people like him go after people like me. And it's my understanding he routinely goes after other YouTube hosts because they're looking for clicks off of it. So I'm just not going to do that and give him what he seeks. But what I find to be a troubling trend here, what I find to be a really troubling trend is when it's really dangerous when anyone could just create a YouTube channel and put out a bunch of really, really radical, really, really damaging claims about a person, which he did about me this afternoon, provide no evidence at all. I mean, literally just stories out of thin air with zero evidence to back any of it up. And I'm a journalist. I'm a journalist. It seems like anybody these days could just go on YouTube and call themselves a journalist. I could only tell you me, okay? I'm not attacking anyone that has not done what I've done, but I'm just going to tell you me. In the last 3.5 years, I've been to 35 states. I've been to way more cities, but I've been to 35 total states, okay? If you want to ask any questions about me and my ethics, my treatment of women, or my treatment of anybody, go ask the people of Flint, Michigan. Go ask the people of Standing Rock. Go ask the people of East Chicago, Indiana. Go ask the people that I've spent with, because I have interacted at this point with thousands of activists on the road. If you'd like to ask a question about how I treat women, feel free to ask the co-founder of Status Coup, my partner who's working on the biggest story of both of our careers with me, 50-50 equal. Go ask her how I treat women and other people. When I hear claims that I stole people's stories, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but it's comical to me. Because some people just say things and they don't have to provide any evidence of anything. And their viewers just believe it. I don't know, call me old-fashioned, but when I hear people make claims about other people, saying they've done something wrong with women, or they've stolen stuff from me, or I don't know, I didn't watch it. I just heard this guy said a few things. I kind of, okay, do you have the receipts for this? Do you have any evidence of this? Or are you just throwing out bombs with nothing there? So for me, I'm not going to engage with it further. If this person wants to continue lying about me and defaming me on the internet, okay. But I do thank him because he claims all these things about me, yet he reached out to me after my grandma passed away 2 years ago to send me condolences, which was a very nice thing. I thank him. So I just don't understand if I'm this, what did he call me, Jen? A sexual predator? Wow. And for a living, I dig into people who lie, right? So there's different types of liars, right? There's some who literally make up stories out of thin air, and they lie so much that they actually believe those stories are true, and that's why they're able to sell it. Again, I didn't watch what he said about me, but somebody tweeted at me, and then we got an email from a viewer. I literally every single thing he said was not true. There's not one thing he said that was true. So, that's it. I'm not interested in a back and forth. It's the last thing I'm going to say about it. I'm sure he'll do 7 videos after this to get clicks. That's fine. I don't really care. Onward. So, onward. So, it wasn't just, actually, not onward. I want to thank We just got another GoFundMe donation, so thank you. Denise Dixon Morris, $10. Donna Pike, $10. So we're now at $81,469. For those of you that came late, Jen is coming up this weekend to work with me on this major story we're working on. So she's going to be on the show for a little bit on Sunday. So definitely. I know it's a lot. I know we've been asking a lot, but keep it coming if you can. We're going to, Joseph and I are going to New Hampshire this week to cover Warren's campaign, and I got a lot of questions for her supporters, and hopefully her. And I think you guys are going to be proud when you see this story we're working on, which I can't go into detail, but we have secured, for now, they could always kill it at the end, but for now, we have secured a pretty decent size, well-known outlet that's really interested in this story. So that's good news. So, and thank you, Jen, in the comments. HD Spider-Man 56, Jordan, $5. You've said enough. You don't have to convince us. Don't waste time or energy engaging with baseless claims. See on your next members call. Thank you. You know what? Thank you, Jedi Millet, $5. Did you get the info I sent on David Bloom? I did not. So if you want to send it again, put subject line David Bloom super chat comment, and I'll look at it after the super chat. Literally all I've been doing the last 5 to 6 days is writing this story and researching for this story. HG Spider-Man, the reason I got into it a little bit is because it would be easy just to ignore someone, but when somebody actually says I'm a confirmed sexual predator, I have a problem with that. I ignore a lot of things, but when somebody literally makes such a libelous, slanderous comment that has already been debunked, by the way. Thank God people looked at the facts and saw it was not true. When somebody is that kind of person that goes on the internet and says that with no facts, they have no evidence, they just put it out there, I can't allow that to stand. So that's why I spoke out. But that's it. I'm not speaking about it anymore. And by the way, frankly, what would it say about Jen? If you want to know the truth, a little behind the scenes, when Jen, and she'll be mad at me for telling you this, but I don't care. When Jen came on with me many years ago, when I was still at the Young Turks, unbeknownst to me, I handed her my computer just because she was helping me on things. Unbeknownst to me, she just dug in. She went in and she looked through a lot of things to see if there was any validity to the claim that was made against me. Go ask Jen what she found. Nothing. That's why she stood up for me back then, and that's why she knows who I am. So, now we're going to move on. Ugh, Michael Bloomberg. Say it ain't so, Michael Bloomberg. I'm just going to put my fan on. It's kind of hot in here. Michael Bloomberg. Michael Bloomberg thinks what the world is missing is him. So Michael Bloomberg looks at Bernie Sanders surging in the polls. Bernie is now within shooting distance in Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, California, behind in South Carolina, where Joe Biden looks pretty good. And Michael Bloomberg says, oh no, we can't allow this Medicare for all. And frankly, I think he sees that Joe Biden is a walking Titanic. So Michael Bloomberg is now deciding to get into the race. Of course, there is zero appetite for Michael Bloomberg in this race. There's not a portion of America clamoring for Michael Bloomberg to get into this race. But a plutocrat's going to be a plutocrat. And Michael Bloomberg, he must get into this race. And apparently, Chuck Todd and the other elitists on cable news, apparently they think that there's some silent majority out there that's clamoring clamoring for Michael Bloomberg. Let's take a look. This will give you a chuckle. Let's take a look at Chuck Todd and his.
To his left.
Well, Beto was to his left on guns, but he's not going to be a factor any longer.
Right? I mean, so...
Also the governor of
you can make an argument that
Bloomberg has embraced the Green New
I don't think he's embraced that. I agree.
So that's one area where he actually is more to the center than she is.
You know, in the smoke-filled room, you'd say, on paper, Bloomberg has the right balance of what you want to win a broad election. Maybe not a deep election, but if you're trying to win the ex-suburban Republican, which, by the way, Michael Bloomberg's an ex-suburban, arguably an ex-urban Republican, and at the same time, you care about these core progressive issues like guns and climate, it ain't just somebody buying an election.
I'm trying to think of Michael Bloomberg as the nominee in Western Pennsylvania.
I know what you're thinking.
The suburbs of Michigan, the Michigan suburbs, the Ohio suburbs, the Wisconsin suburbs.
By the way, there's only one running mate for him.
Huh?
It's the same running mate Joe Biden has to pick, and it's the same running mate Pete Buttigieg has to pick. It's Stacey Abrams, by the way. There's nobody else that Bloomberg can match up with if he someone got this nomination than Stacey Abrams.
Why?
Yes. I think he has to have a person of color.
Huh?
I think he needs a diversity on the ticket, person of color, no?
I don't know what he would need. I'm just trying to think of Bloomberg selling nationally in the nitty-gritty of the key swing places. Maybe he can. Maybe.
Look, I didn't think
New York mayor.
But I didn't think New York City.
Right.
But I thought that was a problem for Trump. Like, I think we all thought New York City doesn't sell in America, and yet what were the two nominees?
Well, Trump was the candidate. Trump was the candidate from The Apprentice. He wasn't the candidate from New York.
I just think the New York
And the guy that talks their language, which Michael Bloomberg doesn't.
Right.
No.
Wow. I don't know what part of that. I don't know what part of that was worse. The fact that Chuck Todd is pushing Michael Bloomberg, or the fact that Chuck Todd just casually was like, yeah, just throw with a black woman. That'll do him good. Just throw the black woman on the ticket with him. Michael Bloomberg and a black woman, that's the ticket. I'm not saying anything against Stacey Abrams. I mean, I don't think she's a capital P progressive, but I think she's a dynamic woman, and I think she did a great job and had the election stolen from her in Georgia. But how ridiculous and insulting for Chuck Todd to just be like, well, automatic, Stacey Abrams. You put Stacey Abrams with Michael Bloomberg. Look out, America. And it's like he's working for Bloomberg. That's how I took it. And the funniest thing is he's like, oh, you have Michael Bloomberg on these two core progressive issues, guns and climate. What do you think? There's not enough strong progressives on gun and climate? Bernie Sanders currently is polling number one in who will best handle the climate crisis. Number one. Of course, guns is an important issue, but Bernie's calling for an assault weapons ban. I mean, he's calling for very progressive issues. Warren, too. And by the way, Chuck Todd, guns and climate change is not the top progressive issue. Healthcare is the top progressive issue. You're a pretty crappy political analyst if you don't know that. But this is the insanity of the journalism industry we have. You literally have elitist pigs who make gobbles and gobbles of money. I mean, Chuck Todd is making millions of dollars a year to be that elitist and stupid. And they are framing the discussion on who is electable and who is not. There is no audience at all. There is no demographic at all. There is no clamoring for Michael Bloomberg. The only clamoring for Michael Bloomberg is people like Chuck Todd. But I'll tell you what. It's going to help Bernie Sanders if Michael Bloomberg gets into the race. The more billionaires, the better. Because Michael Bloomberg needs to explain how his policies as New York City mayor, from stop and frisk, from tax cuts for billionaires, corporations, how his policy prescriptions for America is going to end this new Gilded Age we live in. Yeah, he might have thrown a lot of money towards gun control and the climate crisis, and that's great. Even some billionaires do the right thing. But that doesn't mean he has any business being in a Democratic presidential race. His thinking is exactly the sickness we have in America. That if we just had more investment from billionaires, we'd just be better. Oh, income inequality? Yeah, we could throw a couple things. That'll fix that around the edges. He doesn't see a problem with income inequality. He thrives because of income inequality. And that's why Michael Bloomberg is trying to get into this race. That's why Wall Street is scared. Wall Street is scared out of their damn minds. And I love this notion that, you're seeing all these articles. It's almost like Elizabeth Warren's campaign is planting with like CNBC and Politico these stories to make it seem like Wall Street is most scared of Elizabeth Warren. Wall Street is so scared of Elizabeth Warren, who's going around the country having hot tea with the Democratic Party establishment. Elizabeth Warren, who's been on every single side of the fence on whether she's going to take big money in the general or she's not. I'm not going to take it during the primary, but I'm going to take big money during the general. Wait, I'm not going to take big money during the general. Wait, I won't personally take big money during the general, but I will raise money for the DNC in the general, which will come to me anyway. Like, who the heck knows? Who could follow with Elizabeth Warren? Every day is different. Thank you, Chris. $10 in the GoFundMe. We're now at 81,479. Oh, man, if we could get to... Jen, wouldn't it be nice if we got to $82,000 before your train to New York tomorrow? Wouldn't it be nice if we got to $82,000 before your train up to New York tomorrow to work with me on the biggest story Status Quo has ever done? Let me tell you something. When I'm talking about this story that Jen and I are working on together, when I talk about like the biggest story Status Quo has ever done, when I talk about the biggest story I've ever done, I'm literally talking about like this story you probably couldn't, even the best screenwriter in America could not write this level of corruption that we've uncovered. You literally can't make it up. So definitely pitch in if you can to the GoFundMe. I think you're going to be super, super proud when you see this story. And if you're a Status Quo member, again, we're trying to get to 1,000 by the end of this year. We've been flat for a few weeks. You're going to be proud to be a member and support our journalism. So, you got Michael Bloomberg. This one entertained me. This one entertained me. Oh, did I not put it in? Hold on, let me find it. 1 second. Okay, let me put it in here because I didn't. Warren Politico. So, as all these billionaires are getting in the race, the media is creating this alternate reality. This total alternate reality. So this is from Politico a few days ago. Why the media is biased against Elizabeth Warren. Literally, and Jen could tell you, I hate the term LOL. I'd just rather be like, oh, I just laughed out loud. I have not laughed out loud in a long time. But when I saw this article, why the media is biased against Elizabeth Warren, which was so laughable, so ridiculous that Politico actually had to change the headline. Now they changed the headline because that was ridiculous to one big thing the Dems get wrong about Warren. Yeah, the media has been biased for Elizabeth Warren, not against her. Are you kidding me? But it's like, as Michael Bloomberg gets into the race, as Tom Steyer continues throwing his money around, which we're about to get to. You keep seeing these articles. Oh, Wall Street's terrified of Elizabeth Warren. The media is biased against Elizabeth Warren. Stop writing press releases that Elizabeth Warren's campaign sends you. Stop writing talking points that Elizabeth Warren's campaign is sending you. Wall Street is not more scared of Elizabeth Warren than Bernie Sanders. Anyone who tells you that Wall Street is more scared of Elizabeth Warren, who literally has been on every single side of the issue on money and politics, literally has been going around the country having hot tea with the who's who of the Democratic Party leadership, literally had a big, massive donor pay $100,000 to get her access to the DNC voter file, literally raised money at lavish fundraisers during her 2018 Senate campaign, Martha's Vineyard, Silicon Valley, New York City, Washington, D.C. She did very big fundraisers with rich people. A New York Times article said, people said, oh, she's more pragmatic in conversation behind closed doors. And then she just transferred that money over to her presidential campaign. That's why she had all the money to begin with. She had $10 million to start. And then she says, oh, I don't do big fundraisers. Yeah, you did it during your Senate campaign, and you just transferred the money over. It's an accounting trick. So, the bottom line is, I don't think she's as bad as Trump. I disagree with a lot of viewers who wouldn't vote for her over Trump. I would. I don't think we could afford another 4 years of Donald Trump. And I'm not risking the planet Earth for perfection this time around. We don't have much more time. The planet is burning. The Amazon is burning. We cannot risk Donald Trump staying president. I don't want her to be the nominee. I don't think she'll be the nominee. But I'm just not going to lie to you and say I think she's as bad as Donald Trump. That's not true. However, let's keep it real. She's not Bernie Sanders. And these media outlets that put out, the media is biased against Elizabeth Warren. If there is a company, you remember there was a company that did an analysis of Donald Trump's free media coverage in 2016? He got between $3 to $5 billion in free advertising. I don't know what Elizabeth Warren has gotten, but Elizabeth Warren has gotten tens of millions of dollars in free advertising. MSNBC practically slobbers all over her. Same with CNN, New York Times. The Washington Post compared Elizabeth Warren doing selfies with freedom fighter and abolitionist hero Frederick Douglass's photos. Give me a break. Brian, that's a good term. It's reverse psychology. They know the general public hates the rich. They're trying to trick the voters into voting for Warren because they know we hate them. It's a good thing. But to tell you the truth, I think Bernie Sanders' campaign, I've been very focused on this story that I'm telling you about, but the things I am seeing, I think Bernie Sanders' campaign is pressing all the right buttons lately. I think they are making a smart analysis to go double down and triple down that Bernie Sanders is the Green New Deal candidate, because that's super, super important to Iowa. Climate change is ravaging farms in Iowa. A lot, the extreme storms that happened earlier in this year have ruined a lot of the farmers' land for farming. So climate change is a major issue in Iowa, and Bernie Sanders is doubling and tripling down on that. And I don't know the date. Jen, if you have it or can get it for me. But Bernie, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez, Naomi Klein, who is about to endorse Bernie, and other big figures in the fight against climate change are getting together in Iowa, I think this weekend, but maybe this coming week. So I think Bernie is pressing the right buttons. And I'm not going to lie to you, I didn't read the full thing, but he did just come out with a immigration reform plan that got a lot of good response among immigration rights and immigration reform advocates. So I think Bloomberg entering the race is good for Bernie. Probably good for Warren, too. And lastly, I feel bad for Elizabeth Warren on this. Elizabeth Warren, I mean, let's just call it what it is. She sold Bernie Sanders out in 2016. She suddenly forgot who's more progressive between Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. She chose not to endorse during the primary. Well, we know why. I mean, WikiLeaks showed she was already angling with Hillary Clinton's campaign for a potential spot in a Clinton administration. I mean, usually when you make little deals like that, you get something in return later. Elizabeth Warren staying silent in that primary. I'm not saying it's why Hillary Clinton won, but it made a difference. Might have helped Bernie win Massachusetts. He only lost by 1%. Well, for that favor to Hillary Clinton to not endorse the actual progressive in the race, here's how Hillary Clinton just repaid Elizabeth Warren. Can't make it up.
Do you support a wealth tax?
You know, I don't know the details of it. I hear about it. I hear what it would cover. I don't understand the mechanism that would be required. I would prefer to go the approach that I put forth when I ran. You know, that was, you know, I'm not against, you know, raising rates. I'm not against, you know, getting rid of things like carried interest, which I think have, you know, gone way past their sell date. And there's a lot of other things that I would be very willing to support. I just don't understand how that could work, and I don't see other examples anywhere in the world where it has actually worked over a long period of time. We used to have a wealth tax. It was called the estate tax. I would be all in favor of reinstating the estate tax because that is much more measurable. It is not as disruptive. You know, if you were going to do a wealth tax, and it was on assets, which as I understand it is what they're looking to do.
What they're looking to do with
How you would value it is, you know, I think complicated to start with, but assume you could get some system of valuation. People would literally have to sell assets to pay the tax on the assets that they owed before the wealth tax was levied. That would be incredibly disruptive. So I think there are other ways to raise the revenues and ways that do get those who are well off to pay more, because I do think we've got to have that as part of our effort to combat inequality and to, you know, really, I think it would do more jumpstart, you know, people's initiative and get back to a feeling we're all in this together. So I just think there are better ways of doing it.
I've only forgot to turn my audio on once so far. I've only forgot to turn my audio on once. So we're moving in the right direction here. So what I was saying when I was muted was, let's just call it what it is. You know, Elizabeth Warren supporters won't like it, but we got to live in the real world. She sold Bernie down the river in 2016. I'm not saying her endorsing Bernie would have won it for Bernie, but it would have helped. It was the right thing to do if you're a progressive. So she sold Bernie down in the river thinking like Hillary Clinton was going to do something for her. And what is Hillary Clinton doing for her? Leaving her stranded on the other side of the river without a paddle. And by the way, it's not just Hillary Clinton slamming Warren or saying it won't work, Warren's signature little plan, which, by the way, Warren's wealth tax is not a new thing. Bernie proposed it many years before. But putting that aside, Warren is also Hillary Clinton, unsurprisingly, has also come out against Warren's Medicare for All plan, saying it would never get enacted, which is why she's not president, because Hillary Clinton was the no, we can't candidate. Not that Donald Trump meant of any of the things he said, but Hillary Clinton's message was no, we can't. And now she can in the woods. You know, she loves going in the woods. So what I find so funny about this, what I found so funny about this, besides the fact that Hillary Clinton is just like unsurprisingly burned Hillary Clinton, and Hillary Clinton has unsurprisingly burned Elizabeth Warren and just stood her at the altar. Elizabeth Warren thought like, oh, if I scratch Hillary's back now, she'll scratch my back later. Not gonna happen. But Hillary Clinton is just so full of shit. Oop, demonetized. Swear jar. So let's take this through, point by point. You're telling me America could figure out how to coordinate bombing 9 countries at once? You're telling me America could figure out how to be in endless war around the world? How America could figure out how to give subsidies to Goldman Sachs, Pfizer, Raytheon, Boeing? How America could deregulate pretty much every industry that their donors, I'm talking about the politicians. American government is competent enough to do all of these things. But they're not competent enough to take a certain percentage of money out of the richest among us. Earnings, stock portfolio, whatever. It's so difficult. This is the argument you keep hearing from wealthy people like Hillary Clinton. It's not practical. It would be hard to enforce. It would be hard to figure out how to do it. Well, I think if we could figure out how to bomb 8 or 9 countries at once, I think if we could figure out how to spy on our citizens in mass surveillance all over the country, I think if we could figure out how to do facial recognition on our citizens without them knowing, I think if we could figure out a very, very convoluted, complicated system, how to basically suck as much money as humanly possible out of the sickest among us in a for-profit system, I think if we could figure out how to jail as many black and brown and indigenous people as possible in for-profit prisons, I could go on, folks. I think if we could figure out how to do all that, I think we could figure out how to take a certain percentage of Bill Gates' money competently, and Jeff Bezos, and Tom Steyer, and Michael Bloomberg, and Chuck Todd, and all of these frauds. Can I get an amen? Speaking of the gospel, I have an amen. Thank you, Anonymous. $521. $521 from an anonymous soul in the GoFundMe. We have just passed $82,000. I believe I can fly. Woo! I don't know who it is. I don't know if it's a man, a woman. I'll find out later because we could see internally, and I will be thanking this person. We could see on our end who it is, but I don't see it now. And thank you, Stale Fisk, after $10. Thank you so much. $521 is not a small amount of money, and you just put us less than $3,000 away. Honestly, I'm not going to lie to you. I was talking to Jen earlier and the other day, and I was like, you know what? I keep it real, folks. Times are not so hot right now financially for Status Quo. We're not on death's door or anything like that, but I like to be transparent with you. YouTube is throttling the living shit out of us. We're at a very low amount in revenue on YouTube because they're screwing us and nobody's seeing our content. And membership has been a little flat because we haven't been able to get in the field as much. And, you know, sometimes you get a hot period. For example, we went to the Miami debate. We grew 130 members after that within a few weeks. A couple videos went viral. And then there's some months that you're like flatlining and you're like, shit, what are we going to do? The last few weeks have been more of the later. So it's hard. It's hard. We are a startup. We don't have the resources of the Young Turks. We don't have the resources of anyone really. I mean, we are very small and very nimble, but we are doing this the old-fashioned way, the organic way, and you guys have really, really answered the bell. $82,000. I can't thank you enough. So yeah, we are $2,990 away from reaching our GoFundMe goal. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. All I could say, and Jen can attest to this, and we'll get into this. She's going to be on camera with me Sunday. She's coming up for the weekend to work on this story with me. I think once you see the labor we have put in for this story, you're going to be proud that you pitched in whatever amount you pitched in. We are working very, very hard. Oh, Colin says, become a member to see my cat. Oh, if you missed it, Colin is going to be the new star of our Twitch channel, because we are on Twitch. And Colin is, I don't know what we're calling it, Colin. It's up to you. But we're going to have kind of a nerd thing now, because Colin's a proud nerd. And Twitch is big among the gamers, and Colin is a gamer. And apparently there's an intersection between gaming, politics, social justice, all of that. So we're going to have Colin deploy him, and I told him be as nerdy as you want. I mean, you could put on suspenders and glasses for all I care. And do some videos. So Colin's going to be doing that for us on Twitch, so you got to go. You got to go. If you had $500 trillion, would you kill yourself or arrange a clever escape? I don't know, Trudy, but if you give me $500 trillion, I could come up with some stuff. Thank you, by the way. We got a couple super chats, too. Pop Reality, $5. Warren primaries Bernie, but not Clinton. Jordan, you're naive, bro. Pop Realty, bro. What am I naive about? I've been ranting about Elizabeth Warren for the last 20 minutes. You want me to have a bullseye? I'm not a Warren fan. I mean, what else could I say? I don't support Elizabeth Warren. But I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, if you truly believe that Elizabeth Warren and the proposals she's pushing, no, I don't think she's going to follow through on most of them. I think a lot of them would be watered down. But if you truly believe Elizabeth Warren is worse than the guy in the White House right now, literally repealing every environmental regulation we have, literally allying with the man burning the Amazon. The Amazon is 20% of the Earth's lungs. If you think Donald Trump, who you think fracking was bad under Obama, if you care about this planet, we could talk about progressive purity till we're blue in the face, but there's not going to be a progressive movement in 12 years if there's not a planet in 12 years. So you could call me bro, and I appreciate the super chat, but I'm just keeping it real. I'm not going to allow Donald Trump, me personally, you vote for whoever you want. I'm not telling you to vote for. But I think it's really short-sighted for people to say, oh, Warren's worse than Trump or whatever. No, I don't think that. I don't want her to be the nominee because I don't think she's going to beat Donald Trump. But I think it's ridiculous to say Elizabeth Warren wouldn't be better than Donald Trump. Just my opinion. You don't have to like it. I know there's some people that disagree. Colin Tooley, $2 in the super chat. Become a member to meet my new cat. Colin, why didn't you introduce me to your new cat? I don't know your new cat. Smash Dragon 11. What do you expect in the next debate? It's hosted by MSNBC and the Washington Post. All female moderators. That's great. I bet there will be a lot of smearing of Bernie. All female moderators. Who are the moderators? I haven't seen who the moderators are. If it's the Washington Post, you better believe they're coming for Bernie Sanders. We've seen 16 negative articles. No, excuse me, 24. What was it? Oh, yeah, 24 negative articles in 16 hours about Bernie Sanders in 2016. So I think, what are you smiling about over there? The Washington Post. Is that, for fascism? Oh, I like that. Washington Post. Yeah, no, it's not going to be kind to Bernie Sanders. And with Bloomberg coming in, maybe they'll throw another billionaire on stage. Maybe we'll have Steyer, Bloomberg, because that's all we need. Did I miss any super chats? Next debate, the main thing I expect, I really, really hope what we saw from Bernie Sanders. Because Bernie Sanders, I love him. Where'd you go, Bern? Where'd my guy go? Oh, I got him. Bernie Sanders, I love the guy, but he's not consistent in debates. One debate, he comes fighting. The next debate, he goes missing in action. Last time, he went like that. He went like that to Joe Biden. Let me tell you something, Joe Biden. You and the TPP and NAFTA, you and the Iraq war, I'm coming for you. I want Bernie Sanders to do that again times 10. Left hook, right hook. Take it to Biden. Because Biden's still the problem. Biden is still the problem. Yes, Warren is doing well in the polls as well. But they are not bringing Joe Biden down enough. They are not bringing Joe Biden down enough for Bernie to rise or for Warren or Bernie to move up into a permanent frontrunner position. So I hope Bernie comes for Joe Biden's jugular. The time for pleasantries is over, Bernard. I expect more people to go after Warren, too. We saw that in the last debate. I expect more people to go after Warren. I expect Amy Klobuchar, who, was like, just because you have a plan, I have a plan, too. I expect we're going to hear from her. And this is, I don't know if I think this is pretty much Cory Booker's last stand, if he made the debate. Amy Klobuchar's last stand. Kamala Harris is fighting for her life politically. So that's what I expect. Crap, Jordan's playing with dolls on the stream. Get a hold of yourself, man. Brian, I've been caged all week. I'm working on a big story with Jen, and I haven't been able to go live, so I'm blowing off some steam. So I got one more story for you, and this just brings music to my ears. Absolute music to my heart. But before I do that, gotta remember, do you want to build a media revolution, or do you want to just talk about it? Statuscoup.com/join. We're stuck. We've been between like 720 and 730 members now for weeks. We keep growing, and then we get declines or people canceling or whatever. If you want a media revolution, Jen and I and Joseph and Colin and whoever else, Marcus is going to be back doing stuff for us in a little bit. Sign up today, statuscoup.com/join. $5 to $10 a month. You could help fund real reporting. Oh, I don't, honestly, I don't even know what to say anymore. I don't know what to say. I'm speechless. $250. Kathy Files. No relation to the X-Files. Kathy, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's unbelievable to me. Like, we're starting, because honestly with GoFundMe, like you see the same names, because we've gotten people donating over and over and over again. Kelly, Elaine, I love you. You've donated like 100 times. And now I'm seeing I haven't seen Kathy donate before, and you come in with $250. Thank you so much, because I truly get most of the people donating, like, our viewers are not like independently wealthy. So these amounts of money that you're giving, like, we truly, truly appreciate it. And frankly, between the $500 we got and now Kathy's generous $250, that might cover, if Jen and I need to take another trip for this big story we're talking about, it probably will cover at least the flights. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Like, keep it coming if you can. We're now, I'm terrible at math, but I think that's 2,700 something away from meeting our goal. So lastly, and keep it coming in GoFundMe. We got time. Lastly, Tom Steyer. He's a billionaire, but he's a really, 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 really bad at corruption. The point of being corrupt is try not to get caught. And Tom Steyer and his campaign's corruption is so haphazard, is so terrible, he got caught within like 2 weeks. Tom Steyer, you know, the guy who did the original Ready to Impeach, essentially to build up an email list. So Tom Steyer's campaign was just caught essentially offering bribes to local Iowa officials to endorse him in return for Tom Steyer donating to their political campaigns. I mean, this happens all the time. It's, you know, to be fair to Tom, it's not just Tom. Billionaires are bribing our politicians left and right. That's why we live in the United Corporations of America. But a top aide to Democratic presidential candidate Tom Steyer in Iowa privately offered campaign contributions to local politicians in exchange for endorsing his White House bid, according to multiple people with direct knowledge of the conversation. Like, does Tom Steyer think that they're just going to go around willy-nilly offering bribes and, like, not one person might squeal? The overture is from Pat Murphy, a former State House Speaker who is serving as a top advisor on Steyer's Iowa campaign. They're not illegal, though payments for endorsements would violate campaign finance laws if not disclosed. No, it's not illegal to bribe our public servants. It's just untoward. There's no evidence that any Iowans accepted the offer or received contributions from Steyer's campaign as compensation for their backing. But the proposals could revive criticism that the billionaire Steyer is trying to buy his way into the White House. Several state lawmakers and political candidates said they were surprised Steyer's campaign would think he could purchase their support. Tom Courtney, a former Democratic state senator from southeastern Iowa who's running for re-election to his old seat, told the Associated Press that the financial offer, quote, left a bad taste in my mouth. Murphy said concerns about his outreach were the result of miscommunication. Oh, miscommunication. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's hard. They must have miscommunicated whether you were offering to pay in dollars or rubles or shekels. Very, very confusing. I mean, give it up. Give it up to Tom. He's bold. Remember, he said on the debate stage that he's the best one to restore democracy, I think was his term. This is one way of doing it. Just bribe every last one of them to put him in the White House. Now, in fairness, Tom Steyer has given a lot of good money to climate change, environmental causes, so it's not all bad for Tom. I'm not going to lie to you. If he wanted to give money to status quo, I'd at least have to entertain it. I don't know if I'd take it, but I'd entertain it. You'd have to sign a very rigid contract that you have no say in our editorial content. So, Tom, if you're watching, we'll consider it. But there would be strings attached for you, Tom. You have to be down with the coup community already. And you have to be a coup de cavalry member already, Tom. But if he offered us money, I'm not going to lie to you, we'd consider it if it was based on the right terms. However, I mean, Tom, if you're going to bribe people, you don't do it through your top aide, dude. You ever hear of intermediaries? Not in your campaign? Hello? Anthony Reyes, Jordan, let the Jew in him out. Have you not been watching? I'm already out. I don't know if that was anti-Semitic, but I kind of liked it. Oh, by the way, I just want to say, this gentleman who smeared me earlier started making comments about me being Jewish and saying that I hate Palestinians. They said I hate Palestinians. This YouTube host who said this earlier. That I'm a Zionist and I hate Palestinians, blah, blah, blah. Well, if I hate Palestinians, that don't tell the Palestinian girl I dated in 9th grade. Sylvie, if you're watching, don't tell her I hate Palestinians if I hate Palestinians. I remember my mom saying, Jordan, I could see Palestine on your neck. Because I had a hickey. So this person said I hate Palestinians. What the fuck is this person talking about? Not only did I date a Palestinian, not only have I done videos on this very channel calling, if you remember, there was shooting in Gaza last year that killed 66 Palestinians, including a journalist, and I called that a genocidal act by the IDF. My brother was not happy with me. My father was not happy. Two of the biggest Zionists I know. I love them, but I don't agree with them on all things. I have done several videos calling out Israel. That doesn't mean some of you might not like it, but I'm Jewish. And I do believe Israel has a right to exist. Some of you disagree. But I think Palestinians have a right to their humanity. And I think Palestinians are being severely oppressed by Israel. So it's just crazy to me. It's just crazy to me, this nonsense put out. Not just about me, but I see this on YouTube and other places elsewhere, that people just throw like claims out there with no evidence and just people believe them. And like, that's not how things should be. You should, if you're going to make claims that people hate people or people did this or did that, bring the receipts. But just to clear it up, I'm very pro-Palestinian. I think it's a complicated issue that I hope is solved in our lifetime. But I'm with Bernie on this. I think Israel has a right to defend itself and a right to exist, but that doesn't erase the fact that there are gross human rights abuses going on daily in Gaza and towards the Palestinian people by a right-wing extremist and basically the Dick Cheney of Israel in Netanyahu. So, yep, damn, that's not a smear, that's slander. Yeah, I was kind of shocked when I heard it because it's crazy. Jordan gets a bit hyper when he can't go live for a while. You're right. You're right. Jordan, don't feed the trolls. You're right. You're right. I'm sorry. It's funny because I said to Jen before I went live, I'm like, yeah, I'll say something. It won't be much. And I just went to town. I can't control myself. So, to wrap it up today, and again, I want to thank everybody. Oh my God. I mean, it just doesn't stop. $5, Paul Miller, Patrick Coyne, $35. We're now at $82,305. That would be $2,695 away. $2,695 away. You know what? Bernie, if you're watching, with $2,695 away. I don't work for Bernie Sanders' campaign. And I criticize Bernie Sanders when he should be criticized. I didn't like comments he made, actually, 2 weeks ago, was it? He made some comments that I thought were kind of not good about, I think a black person at a event asked him about what should black people do that are worried towards the police, and he said something like flippantly, like, well, don't get shot. I don't think he meant anything by it, but I don't think it was a good thing to say. If we could get any of that Bernie Sanders fundraising jujitsu to raise the last $2,695 that we got left to go in this GoFundMe. Jen is coming over the next few days to work on this massive story. She'll be on Sunday. I don't know if she wants to come on Sunday, but I'd love to have her. If we could raise this $2,695, man, it would be unbelievable. It would be unbelievable. So, did I miss a super chat? Somebody, Krillin876, $2. Isn't Steyer's platform impeach Trump 'cause corrupt? That was his platform that pretty much elevated him in American politics the last couple years. I don't know what his platform is now. His platform is something like, oh, Bernie didn't say that. Bernie didn't say that. Read my super chat. That's how I took it. That's how I took what Bernie said. If you're telling me I'm wrong, that's fine too. Jordan needs a baby Bjorn for the Bernie doll. Oh, I love it. Wait, let's go back to your super chat. Isn't Steyer's platform impeach Trump because corrupt? Well, that's basically been all his commercials. But I also think I don't know what his platform is. That like I ran a business and made it successful so I could make America successful. Well, how's that working out now with the guy in the White House? You know, being a good businessman doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be a good president. And by the way, my understanding of Tom Steyer, he was kind of born on third base. He didn't just build a business from the first, brick by brick. He had a little money to get started. So was Trump. It's true. It's my girlfriend or not watching with the commentary. But Jen's getting on me now. Bernie didn't say that. All right, folks. I thank you. From the bottom of my heart, good to be back. I will be live this coming Sunday. Let's straighten them out. Jen will be in the house, so that will be fun. We'll be live at noon Eastern time. Jen just texted me, are you high? You're not. You're so hyper. Jen, have you ever seen me high? When I'm high, I'm in fetal position, eating Reese's peanut butter cups, giggling like a schoolgirl. No, I'm not high. I just missed the audience. 2 or 3 days I've been away from the people that I love most. Jordan, control yourself. Jen and you are partners. Her advice, opinion matters. Sorry to butt in, but really, I couldn't resist. What are you talking about? I'm telling you, she's telling me I'm wrong. I respect what she's saying. Jen's right. All right, noon Eastern, Sunday. Be there or be square. We got some work to do, folks, but today we put a huge dent in this GoFundMe. And here's what I ask. And I'm going to put Bernie's hand up. I'm going to put his hand up. Both of them. Because he's with us. Here's what I ask. There's a phrase called, do you want to talk the talk or walk the walk? Because it's pretty easy. I enjoy it to shit on CNN and MSNBC and Washington Post, New York Times, all of these elitist alternate reality bubbles. Very easy to do. It's a lot harder to build your own independent, truth-seeking media company. It's a lot harder. It's a lot harder to do it from the ground up with very little. Jen and I had a small investor in the beginning. I've told you about 50 grand we got from a viewer, actually. We met him at a conference. He's been great. Never once even suggested we should do a certain topic or tell us what to do. Just a viewer, progressive, had some money, 50 grand in the beginning. We were able to get equipment to start off, bring on Ty at the time. Since then, we've been building it. And with that, we were able to travel originally for a little bit. Other than that, it's been GoFundMe, membership, and it's slow. There's times when it's really slow. Right now it's been slow because of YouTube. But we also aren't wavering away from it because, for example, the story Jen and I are working on right now, there's no other journalist in America looking into what we're looking into. And when you see the story, when it's finally out there, I think you're going to be outraged that this has been hidden for many years. Because I'm outraged writing it. I know Jen is. I think you're going to be outraged that the level of corruption we found has been covered up. And I hope, on top of that outrage, you feel proud. Because I truly believe that when there's a will, there's a way, and we have the journalistic will. Jen has 2 kids, but she's sacrificed a lot going in the field. Sundays, instead of being with her kids, she's in the live chat with me. I've certainly sacrificed a lot. Got a lovely girlfriend who allows me to go around and do this. I say all this to say, as if you've watched Shawshank, as the great Andy Dufresne told Red, you've come this far, maybe you're willing to come a little bit further. $2,695 to go. I will be back Sunday. If something breaks before then, I'll be live. Thank you for watching, and I will end reminding you what makes status quo different. Peace out.
Brand new reaction coming in from Rudy Giuliani. And right now, President Trump's former top advisor on Russia.
More breaking news tonight on Rudy Giuliani.
Trump lawyer Rudy Giuliani is under criminal investigation.
President Trump is not going to cooperate.
The latest on impeachment.
Impeachment investigation. President Trump.
President Trump. President Trump.
President Trump.
President Trump. President Trump's.
Educational issues with the children that have been poisoned. We're at one of the encampments that homeless people are living at.
It's really discouraging to notice these similarities where you have the administration going, there's absolutely nothing wrong with your water, but here, take these filters.
Are you on Social Security?
I am, but I work a full-time business.
I know, but you're aware Social Security is a socialist program.
Well, that's beside the point.